Hello, Cindy. We can see you as well, just to let you know.
Hi.
Good. Hello. And Mike has joined.
No time.
And just so the committee is aware, I am running the um, presentation and also trying to figure out the live stream. We are live streaming, so I've at least figured that part out, but it is 3 p.m., so we are ready to go when you guys are.
And Chair Bean, we do have yourself, Member Hess, Member Frederick, and Member Hoover so far. So you do technically have a quorum, and we did hear from everyone. Everyone did intend to attend the meeting today.
Sorry, Charmin and others. The phone call I was on was running a little long. Are we ready?
Yes, yes, you are.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and call the December 5th committee meeting of the Kansas Post-Secondary Technical Education Authority Program and Curriculum Committee. Say that 5 times to order. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Did anybody have any corrections or additions?
Don't move. That's right.
All right, Ray, thank you. Do we have a second to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll
I'll
second.
second that, Mike.
Thank you both. All in favor say aye.
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 Anyone oppose? Perfect. All right, we'll move down into the discussion items. And first up, if I call it crosswalk, I apologize because that's the way I'm reading it when I reviewed it earlier. But act on the construction technology articulated credit with the Kansas Department of Education. So, Crystal, are you with us and on the call?
Yes, sir, I'm here. And
All right.
crosswalk is just fine. This is essentially a crosswalk until it is approved, and then I will turn it into a map. Voila. So thank you, Chair Bean, and good afternoon, everyone. For program alignment, I have for your review the Construction Technology Articulated Credit Alignment with the Kansas State Department of Education, referred to as KSDE moving forward. As an extension of the program alignment model, the Construction Technology Program Articulated Credit Crosswalk presented today is an alignment of articulated course credit between secondary and post-secondary technical education programs across Kansas. In accordance with both state and federal statutes, a Perkins Reserve Grant was developed for statewide articulated credit to fall under Phase 5 of the program alignment process. The construction technology program was last realigned in 2023. And with the current program alignment, competencies identified within the common courses represent opportunities for articulation with KSDE. Both the KBOR Construction Technology Program realignment and the KSDE Construction and Design Pathway Update will be implemented in fall 2025. Last fall, a Perkins Reserve Grant was established to provide a $2,500 stipend each for up to 2 post-secondary faculty representatives to create a crosswalk of articulated credit options from KSDE pathway courses to KBOR common courses in the aligned programs. After TEA approval, the crosswalk that's included in your committee packet will then be converted into the statewide construction technology articulation map for the alignment of secondary coursework to post-secondary coursework. Preferred candidates for the grant were construction technology faculty representatives having experience with the post-secondary program alignment process, as well as secondary level pathway course reviews. The grant recipient selected for this project is Mr. Joseph Dobbs, representing Fort Hays Tech Northwest. Mr. Dobbs has a background working in the construction industry, is a NCCER certified curriculum instructor, a reviewer for the current KSDE construction and design pathway courses, instructor for both secondary and post-secondary credit, and his students also participate in the Skills USA Kansas Carpentry competitions. Construction technology program faculty and administrators from 16 colleges, KSDE staff, and KBOR staff met virtually on October 15th to review the articulated credit crosswalk proposal with Mr. Dobbs. This crosswalk was based on comparisons of KSDE pathway course competencies to KBOR common course competencies, NCCER standards for certifications, and pre-existing caveats included in KSDE statewide articulation agreements with individual two-year colleges. As a result, KSDE high school courses from the construction and design pathway were selected for an articulated credit alignment with the KBOR common courses for introductory craft skills and construction basics. The proposed construction technology articulated credit crosswalk was issued for presidential comment from November 4th to November 19th. Early in the comment period, however, it was brought to the attention of board staff that the proposed crosswalk did not include an essential drafting and print reading course option from the KSDE construction and design pathway. So updates were made to provide equity and access to all high school students in the pathway, and the attached proposed articulated credit crosswalk you see here was reissued for a combined faculty and presidential comment period from November 8th to November 26th. No comments requesting modifications to the proposed crosswalk were received. So as you may be aware, the Associated General Contractors of Kansas essentially functions as a chamber of commerce for the construction industry in our state. In addition, AGC Kansas endorses the NCCER curriculum for both secondary and post-secondary students who will later pursue a career in the construction field. And today we have PJ Riley on the call with us as a representative of the Build Up Kansas initiative, which is a construction committee operating under the purview of AGC Kansas. Mr. Riley has an extensive background in CTE administration at USD 259 Wichita, has served on many KSDE pathway reviews, including the most recent construction and design review, and was previously a board member for Skills USA Kansas, as well as the TSA Technology Student Association. He's on, I believe, his phone right now because he's currently on the road representing AGC Kansas and visiting high school construction and design classroom teachers today. So at this time, I'd like to allow PJ just a few minutes to speak to the committee regarding today's crosswalk proposal. Take it away, PJ.
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you for committee for allowing me to be here today and to just share some thoughts. I've really been fortunate over the past 40 years to be a part of CTE in Kansas as a teacher and administrator. And over the last 25 years, I've been a part of most of the pathway decisions that have been made and the progress that's been made, those that are good and those that were not so popular. So today I'm excited because this particular crosswalk and articulation process I have found to be so advantageous for what we're trying to accomplish as a state, both Kansas State Board of Regents and the Kansas State Department of Ed, and helping students realize the benefits related to trade and industry careers. And so with that being said, I have had an opportunity in about the last 15 months to visit 100 schools. And, you know, when you're working and you're working for a district, you know, you're sticking with your schools and your community, and then you're then connecting with CT coordinators and teachers across the state once or twice a year. Well, in this new opportunity of working for Build Up Kansas, I've had an opportunity to be in these classrooms with these current tech ed teachers that are teaching in the construction and design pathway. And what I found out is that more than 60% of those classrooms I've been in, they have no current dual or concurrent credit agreement for college credit. And this particular articulation agreement just fills that gap. It allows for students everywhere, regardless of 1A school or a 6A school, to be able to articulate credit for a few courses that are offered at the post-secondary level that crosswalk to those key courses that all the students will take in the construction and design pathway. And so I have seen not only principals, but counselors and of course teachers too get excited about this. And when you can get your teachers excited, that can be transferred to the students. And just so you know, today I was at a 1A school in Southeast Kansas. And when I had an opportunity to share with those students who currently do not have a current a dual credit or concurrent agreement with any post-secondary, this was such a positive to them that this could actually happen, and they would be able to go on to many of our community colleges that have the construction technology program, including our four-year Regents University, Pittsburgh State, that recognizes it. So thank you again for your consideration of this. And I'm excited that we're going to be able to continue to make articulated credit a real advantage for students across Kansas at every corner across the state. So again, thank you. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you so much, PJ, for taking the time from your busy schedule while you're on the road today to speak to the committee. Just a side note, if anyone is interested in learning more about the AGC or Build Up Kansas, you can check out their websites, buildupks.com and agcks.org. And we can also send those to you if you would like that information. So with that, the proposed construction technology articulated credit crosswalk has been reviewed by board staff and is recommended for approval by the technical program and committee. Today, we also have Joseph Dobbs from Fort Hays Tech Northwest on the call with us this afternoon, and we will both stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you, PJ. Any questions from the committee members?
This is Ray. I think it's sounds very positive as far as alignment, pathways, and articulation agreements. But I'm just curious, unless I just missed it, I heard input from staff, from faculty, but I didn't hear where business and industry, businesses are at the table. Is that correct, or was that just an oversight?
Well, Ray, when this is set up, so this is kind of an additional piece of the program alignment where we've already spoken with business and industry and talked to them about what's needed. And so they had already agreed that NCCER was the preferred curriculum, and that the benchmarks that are offered through KSDE courses line up with the KBOR common courses. So the business and industry input is collected before this part of the process. So when we call the faculty committee from the actual program alignment that happened in 2023, we call back that same staff who were a part of that, and any additional staff who may have come onto the colleges since then. And then we talk about what has already been decided with business and industry in the previous alignment. And that's also why we are happy to have PJ on with the AGC, because they represent what business and industry are looking for in the construction field today. I hope that answers your question. Okay.
And Ray, if I could speak up, I was actually invited to participate on a board at the Fort Hays State when we started down this path probably almost 2 years ago. I was on it for about 6 months, but I had to step off due to other commitments. But it was gathering industry input for the need on construction technologies and what we wanted to see from business in industry. And from main input that we gave at that time was, we wanted to make sure that any students that joined in this had a pathway to either move up or down any direction with some of the course curriculum that they chose to pursue, and that it would transfer within the schools, especially within the network in Western Kansas that we originally had this discussion in, and to have it statewide, I think would be a benefit as well. So I knew they did actually go out and solicit input from business and industry on this.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because at times I've experienced where, the faculty, staff put something together, and the process in the end there's been very little input from or education of the process with businesses in industry. And at the end, the business and industries just asked to bless it instead of providing, critical input from the beginning. So that's the concern that I had. And hopefully that sounds like they have solicited that information, but that again, an input, but it's still an ongoing educational piece for business and industry to be tuned in to what what benefit this is to them as a business.
Crystal, if I can just give one more small input into this,
Sure.
that'd be okay.
Yeah.
One of the things we realized with the Build Up Kansas initiative that came from our Kansas legislators is they need more opportunities for students to fulfill these openings that are available across the trades. And there are many trades, not just standard construction or electricians, plumbers, but there are a series of 50, 60 different content areas where there are jobs available. And so with this initiative with NCCR, we've been charged by our Kansas legislators and business and industry to get this into the schools. And so what I want to share with you is when I came on board after retiring in June of 23, I came right on board. I was bored. I had to do something. I was only off 30 days retired, and I needed to do something. And so we went to work sharing the story and presenting this free curriculum and credentialing to these students and schools. And we started 15 months ago with about 50 schools that were actually engaged. We had about 70, 80 schools that had started, but 50 were engaged. Today, we have 150 schools engaged in a design and construction pathway utilizing the NCCR curriculum. And so we know we got a big challenge before us to get all 250 of these programs, all hitting on all pistons. And Western Kansas is a big market for us to continue to support and to go out and to train and help these schools be successful with this curriculum. So I just wanted you to be aware of some of those, the progress that we've made and the excitement I see as I go out and visit with these schools, these teachers, principals, and superintendents. Thank you.
Thank you, PJ and Mark and Ray, for your questions. Any other questions from the committee? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the construction technology articulated credit crosswalk and place it on the consent agenda.
That motion,
Make that motion.
or I can second it. Natalie Clark.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Natalie. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, please say aye. All right, motion carried. Thank you very much, Crystal, PJ, and Joshua, for all your work.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure.
Moving to item B under the consideration agenda. Charmin, I'll turn it over to you for a discussion about Hutch Community College's barbering certificate and Associate of Applied Science proposal.
Thank you, Chair Bean. Good afternoon, everyone. Hutch Community College explained regarding this program that they were approached by the Kansas Board of Barbering back in 2016 to discuss the possibility of offering a program. Since then, the Board of Barbering has approved the clinic floor plans in 2022. Renovations are being finalized currently, and Hutch also indicated that the Board of Barbering curriculum requirements have been met, and the licensure is being applied for at this time right now. So in addition to the certificate and the Associate of Applied Science, Hutch Community College plans to offer the ability for licensed cosmetologists to stack their existing licensure with an additional 14 credit hours of training to then also acquire the barber license. The program will be accredited by the Board of Barbering. Students will be prepared to sit for the Kansas barber license. Hutch is anticipating enrollment of 10 students the first year and 20 full-time and 20 part-time students in years 2 and 3. Our Kansas Department of Labor data is small cell suppressed for barbers. So the college has collaborated with their employer partners that have indicated hiring needs are between 30 to 205 additional barbers over the next 5 years. The typical education needed for the occupation entry is a post-secondary non-degree award. We also looked at the Lightcast postings, as we always do, from October 2023 through October 2024. There were 45 unique job postings. Some of them had to be posted again, so there were 114 total postings advertised statewide in that year. Annual median advertised salary was $65,400, and 82% of those postings do not indicate a minimum education for entry in the occupation. Hutch Community College also explained that the proposed program is included in their fiscal year 24 through 26 Perkins Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment, and the ONET projections indicate 730 job openings per year in the state. 6 letters of industry support for the proposed program were included in the packet, and the supports include mentorships, interviewing program graduates, recommending equipment, advisory committee membership, etc. Currently, no institutions offer a similar program in the state. Hutch Community College is planning to begin the proposed program in January 2025. They're estimating an initial cost of this proposed program at $124,028 total. That includes $55,478 for new full-time faculty, $11,000 for facility modifications, $53,700 for equipment, instructional supplies, materials, tools, and technology, and then $3,850 for marketing, recruiting, and professional development. Jeline Cunningham, the department co-chair for Ag, Business, Computer, and Technology, will assume responsibility for the program. There were no comments received during the 10-day comment period. And Hutchinson Community College has representatives on the line as well, and we would stand for questions.
Thank you, Charmin. Any additional input from, I see a room full of folks from Hutch. Any additional comments from you guys?
Rachel. Yeah, I think Charmin has done a nice job in representing the demand. We do hear from our local cosmetology program students that this is a stackable credential that they've been looking for, giving them additional skills to provide in our region. And so that's something to consider. I do also kind of echo, she already said it, but the 30 to 205 job openings is what you see on those 6 letters from our area. That's just 6 letters. That's not inclusive of everything that we're hearing and seeing in our region too. So definite demand for it. We do have 33 students right now that have contacted us with interest in barbering recently. And that's not with any, like from our part, no solicitation as far as marketing goes. We are not marketing or promoting the program yet. So definitely interest in us being able to offer this program to serve our community's needs. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions?
Yeah, this Ray. This is a program that I have to say I'm struggling with. And as I understand it, there's the minimum of what's required. One is just a high school diploma and GED or GED to be licensed. And the requirements to become licensed seem to include, it kind of mirrors and our different trades as far as technicians. But to complete, if I have this correct, 15 hours of barber training, submit an application for an exam and license, pass a practical or written test to become licensed, and then basically go to work and keep it current. It's unclear to me, why this program or a person would be seeking an associate degree. It's certainly unnecessary, and I thought that Kansas City had a barber program. Maybe that's no longer being given. Charmin?
No, they do not have a barber program, and I'm not seeing where, I don't believe anybody else has had one previously. Looking at the Board of Barbering website, there are currently 10 approved barber colleges throughout the state. And Kansas City does have, it's called Headlines Barber Academy. The only one piece of information that I would offer up regarding what you just shared, the training hours to become the licensed barber is actually 1,500 and not just 15.
I'm sorry, did I misspeak on that? I meant 1,500. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. But that's a significant difference. So I did want to bring that up.
Thank you.
But you are yes, there is one in Kansas City, but it is not through one of the community colleges.
Okay. And the ones in Wichita, it's my understanding, they're all private.
Yes, there are
so
3 in Wichita.
Okay. So I'm just.
I might add that the 1,500 clocked hours is much like cosmetology, where they have to be trained under a licensed instructor. So they have to have the licensure of the trade as well as an instructor license of the trade to go along with it. So they have to seek a school in order to get their licensed training to be eligible to sit for the exam. So this program is much like cosmetology, where it has a clock hour requirement that has to be complete with a approved college or school. Through the Kansas Board of Barbering, correct. The Wichita schools too, just to add a little bit there, we do have a competitive advantage with our cost that we're able to provide the program, and they get credit if it's awarded through us versus a private industry school. So they can have credit hours that are applied to a transcript, have a transcript process to eventually complete a degree if they want to do that. They don't have to complete a degree. They could take the certificate as we're proposing it and be able to sit for the licensure and be a licensed barber and head right into employment if they want. But our competitive advantage is almost half of what it would cost if they choose a private school in the Wichita area specifically, or any of the other private schools in the state. We're coming in under all of them as far as a cost to the student.
So did I understand you right that the minimum of 1,500 hours, that training, is not just with another barber that is certified and licensed. It doesn't have to be an institution, does it?
It has to be an approved college or school from the Kansas Board of Barbering. So those 10 that Charmin just mentioned, it has to be one of those 10 approved schools, or as we're proposing, for us to be the first public offering of that.
Okay.
I would add that as a public institution, we have a variety of resources available that are not necessarily provided by private institutions. We have residence halls, cafeteria, tutoring services, all of the counseling and support services that wrap around students to help ensure student success in their various programs.
Charmin or someone from Hutch, just to confirm. So Hutch has not yet applied to be one of those now 11 approved providers, right?
We are at the very end of that process. The last of that process through the Kansas Board of Barbering is to pay for our licensure and await final inspection. And to know that we have a certified licensed Kansas Board of Barbering instructor. And so we are in that phase. Like, we have paid for our final licensure and waiting just for the inspection piece and the proof of our instructor that we would hire, that they are a barber instructor, licensed instructor.
And once you get through all of that, you will be considered a licensed training provider, is that right? Or
Yes, authorized by the Kansas Board. Yes.
I had a quick
John?
question. You had mentioned that this was a stack-on credential for some of your cosmetology program students. I wonder if you can help clarify just the distinction between what you get through the Board of Barbers versus Board of Cosmetology. When I did a little bit of research about, all I could see was barbers can use razors and cosmetologists can do waxing. Wasn't sure exactly what the distinction is between what the two boards do and regulate.
We have one of our industry partners here who could speak to that for you.
Hey there. So the difference between the two is cosmetology is going to fit more of a service where you're focusing on color service, chemical services, the waxing, facials, eyelash extensions, all of that. And the barbering licensure, it is more geared towards men's cutting, still chemical services, straight razor shaves, and then the major difference is the ability or the approval that you can use a straight razor and other tools that barbers are able to use that cosmetologists are not licensed to use.
In essence, it expands the number of services that a cosmetologist would be able to provide if they also have a barber license. Two completely separate boards, two completely separate licenses.
I personally have 3 of my employees just here in Hutchinson that are planning on going through the barbering program. It's just, cosmetologists are interested in being dually licensed because it does just expand your knowledge. It expands your ability to, make an income. Cosmetologists are usually more geared towards women's, doing women's hair or services, and barbering is definitely geared towards men. So it offers a lot of variety for your career.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Charmin, this way. Would this fall into high demand category?
Not based on the data from the Kansas Department of Labor. No, it would not. And the reason is because that data is currently small cell suppressed for barbers. Cosmetology is a high demand occupation and has been for past 10 years. It is not high wage because it relies on the reporting that is provided to the Department of Labor. But no, it does not meet the criteria that the Department of Labor uses for a high demand occupation.
What about high wage?
I think that the high wage probably would get pretty darn close, honestly, because the annual median advertised salary on Lightcast was 65,400 annually. So yeah, I think that would make it.
And I might mention on ONET that they have barbers listed as Bright Outlook. So though it's not listed under BLS, it is listed under ONET as Bright Outlook.
And tell me who you are.
Mel Whiteside, Vice President of Academic Affairs.
Okay.
Ray, the other thing, I mean, I had similar concerns that you did, but one thing I was thinking about is, you know, when I get my hair cut, there's 2 barbers in the place I go to. And so obviously you have time to chat and they both know what I do. I think one of the things that they bring up all the time is that these are 2 older gentlemen. They worry about, you know, who's next in line, not for the haircut, but next in line to deliver the service. That's their concerns that they always express to me, is there's just not enough people going into this sector or this industry.
And those are some of the same concerns we are hearing from people in our region as well.
We have also heard a lot about, if you have young adults in your life, you see that men's services are on the rise. They're looking for the fades, the bursts, the different perms even, with their mullet cuts and curly on top. They're looking for facial services. They're looking for the shaving services. So you'll see more of that if you have young adults in your life than probably ever seen before. So trying to meet that demand and be able to provide this service.
Is that you, Mel?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was you. And just a side note, it was what, Mel's grandpa that worked for Frederick Plumbing.
Correct.
That you know, he never did like me to ride along with him because I was just a little kid, didn't know anything. But anyway, it's just good to see you again, Mel. I didn't realize you were over there at Hut. So
yes, thank you.
All right.
Well, Sharman,
quick question. I was going to ask this real quick. Was there any other barbering programs near Hutch Community Colleges, or was that reviewed? I didn't know where the nearest other program was, just to make sure there wasn't a lot of overlap.
Right now, there are 10 barbering colleges in Kansas. I would say the closest one to me looks like the 3 in Wichita, and then there is 1 in Manhattan. And just to give you an idea of the spread across the state, there are 2 in Kansas City, Olathe, 2 in Topeka, 2 in Fort Leavenworth, in addition to that.
Okay.
So we would be the furthest west in the state and the only public institution.
I might add to just some of I mentioned the 33 students that have reached out to us that are interested in this, and we're hearing from them from Dodge City, Ransom, Kansas, Nickerson, Sterling, Hutch, like most of them are coming from that western side of the state looking for an opportunity.
And if I may add, I worked at Paul Mitchell's school for quite a few years. I stopped working for them in 2019, but they had opened up a barbering program, started out small, and after a year, enrollment was so high, they had to do remodeling of the entire school to expand everything so they could expand their barbering program because they were struggling to keep up with the demand of enrollment.
Any additional questions? So Sharman, I'm going to think out loud here a little bit. If the committee would approve this, I think we should make it pending on the State Board of Barbering or whatever you want to, whatever the entity is, approving or authorizing Hutch to do it. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Absolutely. Yep, contingent upon that accreditation and
Yeah.
final approval.
Accreditation is a good word. Any other questions from the committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve Hutch Community College's request for a Certificate B in Associate of Applied Science in Barbering, contingent on the accreditation from the Kansas Barbering Board, and place it on the consent agenda.
This is Cindy. So moved.
Thank you, Cindy. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Thank you, Mark. All committee members in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you, and congratulations, Hutch Community College. And Sharman, appreciate all your work on it, and I appreciate the good discussion. So a great conversation there.
Yeah.
Just a reminder.
Thanks again, Sharman.
Just a reminder to the committee members, our next committee meeting is January 16th, 2025. Hard to believe we're cruising. We're going to end the 2024 and be soon to 2025. So, and then Sharman, do we have anything kind of in the pipeline for that meeting?
I suspect we have a couple. I've had a couple of folks. Yeah, we should have a couple.
All right. So rumor has it we'll meet on January 16th.
Rumor has it.
So. And then just a reminder to everyone, our next full authority meeting via Zoom is December 19th. Thank you, everyone. Director Chambers, thank you for your help today. And Crystal, thank you for your guidance on the crosswalk and all your work and staff's work on that too. So if there's no objection, I will consider our committee meeting adjourned. Have a great week, everyone. Day one.